Hey, family and friends, have you ever seen Usain Bolt run? What about Allison Felix? These are the great runners of our time. But if you look at how they run, there's a strategy to how they run their race. Matter of fact, that's true for most or all great runners. They are trained to do certain things. So you have different phases, the acceleration phase when they come off the blocks. Then you have the transition, the gliding. And so there's certain things that they've got to do with their bodies, that they have to do with their feet, that they're trained to do in order to run. I've talked about the fact that life is like a race that we have to run. And so with running the race of life and really finishing the course and finishing strong, we also need to know the strategies for winning. We've got to know the strategies for how to win. Let me just tell you that how we run determines how we finish. I'm going to tell you that again. Let me say it again. How we run determines how we finish. So I want us to look at Hebrews because Hebrews chapter 12 verse 1 to 3, Paul began sharing from some strategies for running the race of life, the course God has set for us, and really being successful, really achieving. And so the question is, how do we do this? How do we run and win? The first thing we discuss is that we got to throw off those weights. Hebrews 12 verse 1 verse says, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. And we unpack that. So please watch the previous video to hear more about what that actually means. Today, I want to focus on the second thing that Paul tells us. This is a strategy. This is something that we have to be mindful of as we are traveling this road, running the race of life, because it is not easy, but we can win. Here's what Paul says. He says in verse 2, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Yes, we're still in verse 1. And let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. So here he says you got to throw off the weight, right? The things that entangle us, the things that slow us down. And he said we've got to run with what? With perseverance. That means that we've got to run with a mindset that I am going to finish and I'm going to run to the end. In perseverance actually means to hold on, to keep going, to persist, to stand firm. This is what perseverance actually means. So it suggests, therefore, that there may be resistance, there may be hardships, you may have to push against something, and thus the need to run with perseverance. You see, life challenges us across all areas. We're challenged physically, we're challenged mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Life is filled with challenges, and therefore we need courage, we need strength, we need endurance, because there's always something that's going against us. We're running, going against the current. There's always something that wants to shift us off course. And so what Paul is telling us is that we've got to persevere, which means that we've got to keep going. That means we've got to keep pressing and run with the determination to finish. And so I know that somebody needs to be encouraged today to persevere, to press forward, to pursue, to stand firm. You know, it's like in a basketball game, you're down to the fourth quarter, there are 2 minutes left, and the team is 10 points behind. And some of the fans have begun to leave the building because it looks like it's over. What do when it feels like it's done and it looks like it's finished and it looks like you're not going to win? Here's what Paul says: run with perseverance. In other words, keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. I know it seems like you're not going to finish successfully or you're not going to finish at all, but God is our help. And so God is saying you've just got to keep persevering, because guess what? If the basketball player doesn't keep shooting, they can't reduce those 10 points. If they don't keep defending, they can't ward off their opponents. So they got to keep shooting and they got to keep defending, even if it looks like or feels like that they cannot and will not make it. And so the point that I want everybody to understand is, if you cannot win if you stop. It's very simple. If we stop, we cannot win. You cannot win a game that you stop playing. You can only win when you persevere. So if we're going to win, if we're going to run to the finish, if we're going to finish strong, we've got to make sure that we persevere. Persevere in everything. Persevere in your relationship with God. Sometimes we mess up and we feel like, oh my gosh, I can't go on. I'm gonna quit this thing. No, persevere. Keep pressing. There will be challenges. That's why Paul says, run with perseverance. How do you win this race of life? Persevere. Do that today. God bless you.